about to break down yet another NFL draft video, a Tennessee Titans-focused one, because this is your hub for all NFL draft coverage from us here at Chat Sports. Hit that sub button for more free NFL draft vids. Welcome into Titans Today. I am Tom Downey. We're doing a Titans 7-round mock draft for you on the show today. This is based on the current NFL draft order. I used the updated Pro Football Network simulator. I didn't do trades. The sims can still kind of be bullied. Some players go earlier than they should, at least I think. Some go later than I think they should. I also can't make everyone happy, and I am in the end at the mercy of the sims with who's gone and who's left. Before we get into the picks, and especially in round one, plenty of conversation there. If you want more Titans draft videos, help us out by sharing this one. Always want to make sure we're giving the content that you guys want. If you do want more mock drafts, you do want more draft coverage, hit that share button right now. Now, current NFL draft order is how this laid out. So, Tennessee Titans picking number 7 overall. Travis Hunter goes number 1 to Jacksonville. Shedeur Sanders goes number 2 in the sim. Cam Ward, Will Johnson 4 was a slight surprise. Abdul Carter, also Will Campbell off the board, which I wasn't that upset with. Offensive line's an obvious need for Tennessee, but I think he's a guard, and I don't really love this early offensive line class anyway. The notable players on the board, Mason Graham out of Michigan is going to be some people's top, non-Hunter, maybe even Will Johnson defensive player. Tet McMillan, the Arizona wide receiver, is there. Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas is on the board. That one I strongly considered. 2 Georgia boys, Malachi Starks and Mikael Williams. I'm going with T-Mac, though. This one made a lot of sense. That's what I was kind of hoping was going to be there in the sim for me anyway. I think regardless of what your quarterback plans are, and with Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders off the board, I don't want to take one. I don't think that makes sense, frankly. Getting a top-tier playmaker does make a lot of sense. Now, Arizona's had a more disappointing season this year, in part because, coaching changes and just general not as good as they were previously. I am a big fan of Tim. He's a bit of a unique prospect, so to speak. This is not you don't normally see players this size and also be this thin. McMillan's listed at 6'5", 210. It's kind of skinny Mike Evans, who's 6'5", 6'4", 220 plus there. Cook's man coverage has done a better job this year in contested catches. Also, offers better than expected yak. He's third in missed tackles forced this year, which is kind of crazy for a 6'5", 212 guy. Normally, you think he's kind of stiff and long-legged. He's not. He can do some stuff out of the slot for you, not so much on the screen side. He's a very fun prospect. He's my number 1 wide receiver this year. So if the quarterbacks are gone, this is a player I would definitely love to see in Tennessee to pair with Calvin Ridley long-term. Now, the quarterbacks were gone, so it is what it is, because I'm not taking Milroe at 7. That's a horrible idea. Or Quinn Ewer. Someone told me Drew Allard. No, we're not doing that. If one of the guys is there, though, someone you like, maybe it is Milroe, whatever. Do you want to take a quarterback in round 1? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote the pinned comment of today's show. All right, some notable recent picks in round 2. Barrett Carter off the board. Jedi Barron out of Texas. Jalen Milroe goes to the Jets, which, depending on who their coaches, could be a great fit or a terrible fit. 2 offensive guards off the board. Even though Wyatt Millman is playing guard, a tackle West Virginia's going to be a guard in the NFL. Jackson has been pushed outside of tackle because of injuries for Huston, but he's going to be a guard. So, a tackle happened to fall for me. Namely, Aireontae Ersery, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota, who is a big boy, 6'6", 330, very good run blocker, also does surprisingly really, really well on zone block, which I think does fit what the Bengals have or the Titans have been doing with the more Bengals-based scheme Brian Callahan brought over, what Bill Callahan has done for so long. 1 sack, 1 hit allowed this season, 11 hurries, 3 penalties. The run block grade wasn't as good this year. He has been predominantly a left tackle in his time in Minnesota. You can flip him over to right tackle, or if you want to get weird with it and put Latham over there, which I thought was maybe his best spot, but I think he's been fine on the left side. Pick your spots. Spending your first 2 picks on a tackle and a wide receiver, instant day 1 starters, I think that makes a lot of sense for Tennessee teams still in the rebuilding phase. There were some other notable players on the board. Quinn Ewers is there. I'm not doing that. He's never healthy. We have to acknowledge that, right? He's also really inconsistent still. Elike Omenor, if I'd gone tackle in round 1, I would have loved that in round 2. I love him out of Stanford. Underrated player. A couple defensive guys, Jaeden Campbell, Landon Jackson, Walter Nolan. I'm going to be hard-pressed to find a tackle that can start for me in the 4th round with no 3rd round pick. So I'm going to target those spots early. So who do you want the Titans to draft? Could be round 1, could be round 2, could be whenever. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. We jump to round 4 since there's no 3rd round pick thanks to the Jerry Sneed trade. Ashton Gillotte, the edge rusher out of Louisville. This is additional pass rush help for a player that his raw numbers have dipped this year. His sacks have gone down from 11 to 4.5. He's also played 2 fewer games. TFL's down slightly. However, his pressure rate has actually gone up this year. This means he hasn't either A, been lucky or finished off the same number of sacks. 16.3 pressure rate, though, is very good. I think this is an underrated player. I think he's going to be a fringe top 100 pick. To get him at 109, I like a long term. I don't know how long Arden Key's going to be there. You saw some great stuff from Jalen Harrell in the preseason, but that was still a 7th round pick. Getting another number 3 edge in there, I think is a logical day 3 target for Tennessee. I'm also going to double dip on the offensive line. And I don't know if he's going to go pro, and if he does, he might go earlier. Jaeden Roberts, who I think might be the strongest football player in college football. His weight room feats are, frankly, unbelievable. Alabama doesn't always have the weights available to have him reach his max, which is, it's like this is, Alabama A&M where they got limited weight room. No, they got NFL caliber weight room in there, and he's outbenching everybody and runs out of space. This is a powerful, I think, best as a run blocker on the right side. He has missed various times due to injuries this year. 1 sack, 10 hurries, 4 penalties, a 72.1 run blocking grade. I didn't mean to go double dip with Bama offensive linemen, but I want to overhaul the right side of the line. Spending 2 of my top 4 picks on that spot, I think is a great way of going about and doing it. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats. Don't waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It is curation designed to save you even more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. The all-in pricing total shows your total cost up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. Whether you're going to an NFL game, a concert, maybe you want to go to a bowl game this year, whether it's one of the Music City Bowl or wherever Tennessee plays in the CFP or wherever Vanderbilt goes, which maybe ends up being the Music City Bowl anyway, which is fine. Make sure you're using the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app over at GameTime.co. Create your account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account. Redeem code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Download Game Time. What time is it? It's game time. Let's go to the defensive line here, which I think could use some extra depth. Sebastian Joseph Day is a free agent. They're a little bit thinner than what I'd like there. This is a more undersized option, but I have T'Vondre Sweat, so I can afford to go a bit more undersized there. Aeneas Peebles out of Virginia Tech, who was at Duke for several years and has had a very quality season this year for the Virginia Tech Hokies. Part of, I think, of kind of an underrated group there. He has been pretty darn disruptive, predominantly as a 3 technique. He's on the fringes of 300 pounds, frankly. He only has 3 sacks. He's got 30-plus pressures, which is a pretty good figure for an interior defensive lineman. Not an elite run stopper, but I have T'Vondre Sweat, like that's okay. I think getting another rotational pass rusher on the interior on day 3 makes a ton of sense. Round 5, pick 145. Ricky White, the UNLV wide receiver, part of the very fun go-go offense up there for UNLV. You should watch him, by the way, if you get a chance on Friday, I believe it is, in the Mountain West Championship game. This is a 2-time 1,000-yard wide receiver as part of that unique UNLV offense. Numbers, more touchdowns this year, a little bit more impactful yardage last year. The other part I like about him is, I am kind of looking to double dip at wide receiver. I have Calvin Ridley. I can bring back Nick Westbrook-Akina. Jaquan Jackson's a return man option for me. I'm not going to trust Traylon Burks. I'm in the market for receiver 3 and 4 help still. And he's got 3 punts blocked this year. You want to, this is not a fair comparison. Terry McLaurin went as early as he did in part because he was so good on special teams. Ricky White has already showcased that impact and that ability as well. Now, we'll have more Titans news, rumors, draft coverage, everything else in between for you all year long. So hit that sub button if you haven't already done so. YouTube.com/Titans today. Let's talk Lathan Ransom. I am looking at safeties as well. And this one, I might have found a unfair steal here. He's been a very good run support player for Ohio State. That's taken a step forward in his 5th season as a member of the Ohio State Buckeyes, by the way. Mostly plays deep free safety. Has done some strong safety stuff in the past. Ohio State does plenty of 2-deep coverage stuff because they have Caleb Downs in there. And I do think adding Caleb Downs has made Ransom's life a little bit easier. But day 3, guy that I think will be a good run support player, adds out some depth at a safety spot that has, in theory, Amani Hooker there long term and big question marks beyond that at safety. I wanted to find one earlier. The time didn't work out in the mock draft. I think Ransom in the 6th is fantastic value. Over to the 7th round. Jonah Monheim, the center out of USC. Look, he hasn't had the season that he hoped for. But I'm not going to be mad at Tennessee if they go, let's just throw more assets on the offensive line. You have Latham, you have Skoronski, you have Lloyd Cushenberry once he gets healthy, and I don't know if anyone else is truly guaranteed a roster spot this time next year. I don't think Dylan Radins is. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. This is depth. Monheim is, I think, going to be a center in the NFL. He's got, I think, the better skill set and limitations play better there. Got beat way too much in pass protection, though. But at minimum, this guy can be my 8th or 9th offensive lineman on the roster because he's played every spot except left guard. And if he played every spot except left guard, you can play left guard in the NFL. So I think that, or at least you can sub in there. So I think adding just straight up depth at offensive line, you gonna be mad at me for going heavy at that spot? I certainly hope not. So grade this Titans mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. One time through the reminder, if you need it, Tetairoa McMillan, Aireontae Ersery, Ashton, Gillotte, Jaeden Roberts, Aeneas Peebles, Ricky White, Lathan Ransom, and Jonah Monheim, the 8 picks of the current PFN mock draft simulation order for the Tennessee Titans.